Hi, this is Bhartia, and welcome to TFI. The times have changed. We are now, doing things virtually from our room, something we used to do in person at physical events. And one of the biggest events of the year was supposed to be KubeCon. It's moving to the virtual phase, which also means we are changing a lot of way we used to interact. We used to do hallway track, and we used to party. So Kong, Mirantis, Microsoft, they have come together to organize a cloud native eParty. And today we have with us Sandeep Singh Kohli, Vice President of Worldwide Marketing at Kong, and our regular David Van Everen, SVP of Marketing at Mirantis. First of all, welcome to this online show.
It's such a pleasure to
Thanks,
be here.
Tell us a bit about this cloud native eParty. Where did the idea come from, and how did you plan to execute it?
It is an interesting thing. The team was actually working on Kubernetes days. It was Mirantis, Kong, Microsoft coming together and brainstorming on doing a community event. And Kubernetes days was what they were working with the CNCF team. And then COVID happened, and the team was really bummed out. Parallelly, at Kong, we were also having a similar issue with KubeCon EMEA getting postponed / canceled. And so we started this virtual event. This was back in March, and in 3 weeks, the team planned, and in fact, one of the sponsors was Mirantis as well for that event. And that event was very successful. And because what we saw there and the success that we saw there, the team decided to take Kubernetes days and make that virtual. And so that was kind of the genesis of this. So from being bummed out to going ahead and taking that thing virtual. So that was the founding reason.
Yeah, I completely agree. We were coming together to organize a community event. And so when we couldn't bring it together the way that we wanted in an in-person event, having an opportunity to create a virtual community event still was really compelling for us. So we were happy to continue working on it. A lot of organizations have switched to a virtual format right now. And so we also wanted to put a fun and creative spin on the event itself. So I think it's reflected even in the name of the event, which is Cloud Native eParty. So we want to have a little fun, but also share some interesting insights along the way.
The biggest bummer is that you can see my shirt also, I'm wearing Mirantis shirt, because the Mirantis parties, whether it was OpenStack days or Kubernetes days, are like really crazy. Last time you actually guys got police to come and stop your party because you guys were having so much fun. So how do you plan to bring the same fun there? Or you do feel that, hey, we can't really do that, but you have something up your sleeves where you're like, we are going to still surprise people.
With a virtual event, our options are a little bit limited, but we'll still try to have some fun. The sessions themselves are also going to promote a fun and learning environment, right? So one session in particular really stood out to me. I was happy to see it get added to the agenda. It's titled Honk CTL. And the idea is that the attendees will go through an actual software development exercise in the production of goose-related memes. So apparently there's a goose meme generator, which is a video game, I believe, and folks will be using the DevOps and cloud native tooling that everyone is using in our industry to actually have some fun with that meme generating application.
I'm a big Simpsons fan, so the DevOps session by Elvin, where he's going to be using. I haven't seen the content yet, so I'm actually looking forward to it. Where he's going to be using Simpson memes and GIFs to explain DevOps. That's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's another one I'm definitely going to attend.
Actually, I think this virtual, if we are become creative, it actually opens more venues to be more creative, because you have active participation which you'd lack there. So but since you mentioned some sessions, so I just want to understand the format of the eParty as well, if you can understand, because sometimes when people look at eParty, they just think it's just hey. So talk a bit about the format and what are some of the key highlights that people should be looking forward to.
The event is scheduled on one day, and it'll run from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific, so a full 12 hours. And we tried to encompass global time zones so that everyone would have an opportunity to participate. Most of the sessions are fairly short, so anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. We have a selection of keynote speakers as well. Some very, some very compelling speakers in our industry will be speaking and sharing their current thoughts and ideas with us as well, along with I think we're up to 8 or 9 supporting organizations now that will also be contributing session talks during the day, and then a number of sessions that were sourced through a call for papers that we ran last month.
Some highlights for me personally, the Honeycomb session. Charity has spoken at our virtual event destination decentralization and also at the Kong Summit last year. And her content and the content that they have on open telemetry and instrumentation is always very well received. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Kubernetes panel. Then there's a fireside chat on service mesh and the future of service mesh and SMI. Given that we are in this remote work environment, security and authentication becomes a very important element that we need to know, understand, and work with. And so there's a session on Auth 2.0 and OpenID Connect that Okta is doing.
Sandeep, you touched upon some topics, that, you mentioned. Can you just kind of summarize, what are some of the key topics or trends that will be there at the event?
It's going to have things across the cloud native ecosystem, from containerization orchestration to CI/CD, observability, service mesh, security and storage. So it's a very comprehensive cloud native conference. When it comes to some of the keynote speakers that we have people working at Airbnb, American Express. These are practitioners who are also involved in the Kubernetes ecosystem. And so they will be talking about their stories from implementing Kubernetes and cloud native technologies in real world. And then you also have the co-creators of Kubernetes that are going to be keynoting. And the director of the ecosystem at the CNCF is also going to be a keynote speaker here. So it's kind of like, it's tying of all these beats together that I'm really excited about.
I think that what's really striking about this event is the way that it's bringing together literally a couple dozen organizations, if not more, related to the entire spectrum of cloud native technologies, and that's going to create a diverse set of perspectives, and also hopefully some consensus around some of the things that we're identifying as best practices and some of the leading thoughts of our days today for cloud native technology.
And since this is kind of first time that as e-party kind of thing is happening, when you look at Mirantis, it has its own advantages. Advantages the reach. Now anybody, any part of the world who could not have traveled for whatever reason can now access it. At the same time, when you talk about taxations, because of a lot of reasons, you could not first of all attend all of them, and then you have to wait for months when they go online. Or so now you can very easily pick it. So can you talk about some, when you look at it, you're like, okay, we missed the hallway track, we missed meeting in person, but then suddenly you also saw things that you could not have done. So can you talk about some of those things? And before we conclude, can you also tell a bit about how to take, how to get most out of this e-party? You might have some tips or tricks or some suggestions for people.
Maybe one additional tip for the attendees that join us next week, or that join us for the event. We would encourage you to participate in the Slack channel. As Sandeep mentioned, that's a great opportunity to interact not only with the speakers, but with the peers in your industry. And that'll essentially form the hallway conversation track that happens so often in-person events. So we thought a lot about how having a virtual global audience is going to change the requirements and the way that people will interact during the event. And we think that using some of the tools that are available for remote working and remote conferences are really going to help us make this again a fun event and something that facilitates communication across the entire peer set in the community.
Sandeep and David, thank you so much for taking your time out and sitting down with me today to talk about the e-party. I wish I was there in person, but of course I will be joining it online. Thank you once again, and good luck with the party.